there, welcome back. I am Ramona. This is the Smell of Logic channel, and today's Reddit stories are going to be about angel stories. Experiences, things you've seen, you felt, whatever. So here we go. Ready? Does anyone have any angel experiences? I have a few. One time, a guy kicked me out because I wouldn't kiss him. I was in a town that I was not familiar with, and I just started walking. A man walked up to me and said, "You are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I am not leaving you." He waited until my sister got me and asked for a ride. He wanted to be dropped off at a mall parking lot. There was no one and no car there as it was 2 a.m. He hugged me as I got out, and my sister turned to say goodbye, but there was no one there. My mom has one that she's convinced me was a guardian angel type deal. She was on her way to a co-worker's funeral and running late. She comes up on a green light and had a thought pop in her head that didn't sound like her saying, "You don't want to die on your way to a funeral." It freaked her out, so she slammed on her brakes, and right at that moment, a guy going about twice the speed limit came around a blind curve and ran the red light going the other way. He would have definitely hit her if she hadn't slammed on the brakes right then. One time, I got out of the liquor store and was about to turn toward the left lane. The light was green, and it was my turn to go. The cars had stopped, but I instinctively felt something bad, so I just stopped. Out of nowhere, a tractor-trailer passes the red light at a fast speed. If I would have gone, I would have gotten hit and possibly killed. I was like maybe 7 or 8 and had gone to Wildwood with my parents one summer, and one day we went out for a walk on the boardwalk, and at some point it just started raining like crazy, like real wilds and typhoon weather, out of nowhere. I'm a kid at the time and walking a bit ahead of my parents. We're trying to make it inside somewhere, and I just remember totally out on the boardwalk, basically getting pushed real hard by the wind and slipping pretty bad, and it literally cracked my leg. Like excruciating pain, and I start screaming because I've never felt that before. Out of nowhere, this guy is in front of me. My parents are not far behind me, but like I said, it was bad weather, and I am a small kid, so I was moving faster than adults do in their early 50s would. The dude was maybe like 5'8"-ish, lean kind of build, maybe appeared in his 30s and looking a bit ruggish, but not quite unkempt, just somewhere in between scraggly and just a simple chilling dude aesthetic. He had a beard, but nothing crazy clothes-wise, a rather unassuming and fundamental fit. He gives me a look, not menacingly, just almost thoughtful and even skeptical gaze, perhaps. Just for a moment, hard to read those kinds of looks as a kid, though, and then reaches out for my hand. I hold my arm out to grab his, and he pulls me up. And like I said, the wind and typhoon-level rain is actually effing insane at this time. I get wiped out from that point on. But the type where you look around and see any other human outside fighting for their life just to get inside somewhere. Really struggling to move. My parents can barely move at all, and we're really fighting to stay up. And this guy is just standing in front of me, stable as all heck, and pulls me up with no problem. He looks at me again, and his scratchy, almost hearty voice says, "Ah, you'll be all right, kid, don't worry." I got a rush of calm over me as he pulled me up, and I remember the sensation of it juxtaposed against the rain and wind and shit, and I couldn't even really feel those things as I was coming up in a few moments, that he pulled me up tight, upright. I could only be cognizant of the feeling of just the fact that my right leg was suddenly like absent of pain. On my feet, my leg is completely fine. Seriously, it was like broken. I've had the pain before in my life. Since then, I know it was tingling in the sharp pain of a broken bone. But anyway, I stood up, and after he held my hand and pulled me onto my feet, it felt completely good as new. He then walked around, and he walked me and my parents to a pizza place that miraculously ended up being straight just a few paces to our right. Mind you, we didn't see it there earlier. Like, literally, it was all boardwalk and beach on the left and empty sea on the right, just over the street. So it was wild. So suddenly look up and notice an establishment there that you would assume we would all have noted a few feet back, even in the rain, let alone a couple of yards while trying to escape the rain and find shelter. Rationally, I'm going to chalk this part up to not having noticed it, as while I was struggling to get anywhere out of the rain. As we walked up to the pizza spot, I turned around to thank him. He literally disappears before my eyes. Like I saw him outside the door and was about to speak, and then quite literally half blink and he was no longer there. Vanished from thin air. Pretty sure that was a guardian angel for me, and I've never forgot the energy of his words and the way it washed over me and suddenly took my pain away with him, or the way he saved me from that painful fate and got my family safely inside that day. It was pretty cool. God bless, stay safe, everybody, and pray for the suffering on this day, for those less fortunate, and count your blessings. Hand out lots of flowers and words and actions of love today. When I was around 5 years old, my mom took me on an errand she had to run. When we got back to the car, it wouldn't start. My dad worked an hour away, and it was long before cell phones. She also noticed at the time that I had a pretty high fever and wasn't acting like myself. A man happened to be nearby and noticed that we were in trouble. He figured out what was wrong with it and fixed it in the rain. When she turned to thank him, he had disappeared. She was able to get home and then get me to the doctor thanks to this man or angel or whatever he was. My 3 sisters and I were headed to the Garden State Parkway on Route 9 in Beechwood, New Jersey. 2 lanes of traffic going in each direction, going about 45 miles an hour. We were laughing and talking and fairly giddy because the eldest sister was home for her annual visit. A car on the far right of the oncoming lane swerved towards the shoulder and then turned and plowed diagonally across both lanes of traffic, directly toward us. We all fell silent. We could see it coming, and we knew we couldn't avoid it. We were in the left lane, and there was a car on our right. I was in the back seat and snaked an arm onto my oldest sister's shoulders. Teen me thought I could hold her into the seat. My hero was tiny, 4'9", and the seatbelt always rode too high on her neck in my parents' car. She was driving, and we all knew the car would hit the driver. 18 feet from us, the car coiled back in the left oncoming lane like it had hit a barrier. No impact. We all started breathing again. After a few seconds, I asked the car, "Did you all see that too?" A big invisible hand blocked that car and pulled it straight into its lane. "Yeah, I saw it." "Did you feel it?" "Yeah, that was a presence. It felt like an entity. A person was there. I don't know who it was. Maybe it was some other divine driver's guardians, but we were grateful. It's been 40 years, and I still break out in goose flesh when I remember it. I'm still grateful." Well, I think of this story often as the time I met my guardian angels. Many years ago, I was in a car accident while driving on the expressway. It was dusk, and once my car settled after the impact, it was nearly dark. I had a minor head injury and wasn't able to think straight. I just sort of fumbled in my car slowly before I heard a voice beckoning me. I turned and looked to see the outline of 2 dark figures standing at the top of the embankment. I tried to ignore them and search for my phone, but the male voice shouted, "Come away from your car, sweetie. It's smoking." I responded immediately because I felt like they could see it even though it was dark and were probably concerned for me. At the time, I was a teenager and was a very petite person. I told the voice on the hill I needed to find my phone to call the police. They responded, "We've already done that. It's okay. You can use our phone. Just get away from that car right now." So I climbed out and up the embankment to meet the couple. Still in a daze and in the dark, I resisted all of my stranger danger instincts and got out of the back seat of the car. I could determine the couple were most likely married, middle-aged, and black. All I could see was the illuminated parts of the interior of the car and the phone they lent me. I dialed a number from memory, astonishing to me, and the couple said they'd wait with me until the police and the EMS came. They lent me a flashlight and figured that the car would be safe enough after an hour or so to go search for my phone. I retrieved it, and then I came back to the top of the hill they had left, and the fire truck, along with 2 police cars, had arrived. Just being in their presence really calmed me down. I think it's possible they were just nice people, but I knew that there was something they'd done that day was very important. My mom has told me my uncle's story before. When he was a teenager, 18 to 19-ish, he was in a horrific car accident with, I think, 3 other friends his age. 2 of them died, as I recalled, right. He and the other boy were trapped in the car as it caught fire. My uncle told my mom that a woman appeared to him and stayed with him, keeping him company and keeping him awake until emergency services arrived. He claims it was an angel, and that if she hadn't been there, he'd have died. I believe it. It was a miracle that he survived. I think the other boy did too, but it's been such a long time since I've heard that story. I can tell you the exact date and time I met an angel. It was January 1st, 2007 at 1:05 a.m. At 12:01, my ex-husband and I were hit head on by a drunk driver who was also on drugs. I was taken by squad to the nearest hospital, where I was being treated for my injuries, and so was my ex. My BP dropped due to internal bleeding, and I was taken by life flight to a bigger hospital. I was laying in the room, strapped to the backboard. Shortly after arriving, a man in a blue hoodie walked up into my room and sat beside me. As he reached for my hand, he was telling me about his friend who was in the room beside me, suffering from 3 gunshot wounds. He told me not to worry, and that my husband was on his way. He was just released from the other hospital. He told me that I was going to be okay. He said I would walk again in 6 months and not to be afraid. I closed my eyes and let out my breath. Apparently I had been holding it and didn't realize it. When I opened my eyes, the nurse was walking into my room to check on me. I asked where the man in the blue hoodie had gone. She looked like she had seen a ghost, which scared me. She asked what happened. I told her what he had said about his friend and the gunshot wounds. She proceeded to tell me the young man in the room beside me had talked about the same man, that he had been told he wasn't going to make it. As I'm talking to the nurse, a code blue came over the intercom in the room next to me. Sadly, he didn't make it, just like the man in the hoodie had said. My ex-husband arrived shortly after that, just like the man had said. I also started walking again 6 months later. My ex said that it was an angel of death, but I don't like to think of it like that, even though it was a real possibility. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed those little stories. I always find those interesting. You know, whether you want to believe them or not, it's what people believe, what their I guess what you would say their experience, their lived experiences. But I hope you enjoyed that video. Like I said, if you enjoy coloring, you know someone who does enjoy coloring. I release new coloring books every Monday on Amazon.com. There's a wide variety of stuff over there. There's also some novels, some memory books, some other stuff. Go check it out. The link on my authors page is down in the description of all these videos. If that's not your thing, just go check out another video. There's plenty here on the channel, a wide variety of topics and subjects. Bound to find something you like, maybe some stuff you don't like. But anyway, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.